So, welcome. This is our first instalment of Football Manager 15 Legends Pack. And basically, we're going to be doing a little experiment on here, skipping through 3 seasons at a time. And we're going to be looking at what we consider now the current stars and current wonder kids of the future, and what happens to them now all these legends have been put into the game. And if we look down on the top players here, you can see that we've got Pele, Diego Maradona, Zinedine Zidane, Ronaldo. So you get a gist of the sort of players who are in the game from all through different eras, all absolutely OP wonder kids. They're just ridiculous, some of them. And basically, we're going to see what happens in the game and see what goes on. A lot of the clubs have reset. As I said, they've got these players in now. A lot of the younger players that we know that these days have reset back to like the age of 14, 15, 16. They're back at their clubs that they started at. So we're going to be seeing what happens to them, whether they go move on, where they go. You know, if they break into the international squads or not, because some of these teams like England, Brazil, Argentina have got an absolute abundance of these legends what are all at the ages of 18, 20, 23, 24, so they can go on to have a good few seasons. So we'll be into episode 3, 4, when hopefully some of these guys are really starting to break into the international team. They're really starting to push into the club football. Hopefully some of the guys from the foreign clubs coming to the bigger European teams. Even some of the lesser teams maybe get snapping up some of these guys and moving on and pushing on up and stuff. And see, we're going to keep an eye on some of the clubs. It's going to be quite interesting. Obviously, now they've got these legends. Looking at Leeds, Notts Forest, maybe. Obviously, up in the Scottish divisions, Rangers are going to have a few legends, I'd imagine. See what they can do, push it up into the, coming back into a force, challenging Celtic again. And obviously, if we have a look though at some of the teams, we'll skip to Man United. Um, one of my, little favourite team of mine. Obviously, we can see the team. Peter Schmeichel in goal, Gary Neville, Jaap Stam, um, Giggs, Keane, Beckham, Scholes, Charlton, Best, Solskjaer, Cantona, Law. Looking at their age, these guys are going to be probably in the United team for many, many, many years, and their international teams, obviously. It's put a couple of these, like the random youngsters, into the first team. I've noticed, but they'll probably be moved out by the managers, who, obviously, being reset, is Alex Ferguson. Good to see him back in charge, and hopefully he'll go on to dominate English football for years to come. Going to the under 18s though, obviously this is the main part of the experiment. We've got a Rio Ferdinand at the age of 16, Johnny Evans, Darren Fletcher. There's a lot of players. I've got a short list sorted of all these players that we're going to be keeping an eye on, really. See what happens to them, because Welbeck and Cleverley, both at the age of 14, it's reset them. They've got really good attributes, even at their level, at the current age. So it's going to be interesting if these guys can break into the first teams. Obviously, what's going to happen to them? Pogba, you know, see what happens to them. See if they can get into their international team. See if they get into their current. If these guys get into the United team, I don't see a lot of them maybe making it. You never know. It's Football Manager. So we can have a little look around. Obviously, it's going to be interesting as well to have a look at Man United's main rivals, Man City, because quite a lot of these players have reset. And so Man City have been a bit pillaged, unfortunately, in their attack. They've lost Zeko, they've lost Aguero, they've lost Silva. So we're going to see what happens to them if they're going to have to rebuild an attack with the players they can get at the moment. It's going to be interesting. Leeds, going to be very interesting. Obviously, if anyone knows the history of Leeds, Don Revy back in charge, as you can see by the captain, John Charles, vice captain, Billy Bremer, going to the senior squad. We've got some good players there, and obviously, a lot of these guys are wonder kids. They are going to really kick on. You know, Look at that midfield: Gary McAllister, Billy Bremer, Gordon Strachan. They're going to obviously they're going to walk the Championship and hopefully come into the Premier League and really challenge the big boys in their couple of seasons and see what happens with these guys. Obviously, not another one to have a look at in the Championship. We've got Notts Forest down here. A couple of legends been put in. Peter Shilton, who needs Cardale now. Stuart Pearce, Viv Anderson, Martin O'Neill. We can see these guys. See Kenny Burns. See these guys could go on. And obviously moving up into Scotland, the Rangers, Celtic. Celtic are going to have a few boys of their own here, I think. We'll have a look up on the age scale here. They've got a few guys here. Hendrik Larsson. Ooh. But obviously moving to their main rivals, Rangers, who are down in the Scottish Championship, with Brian Landra, whoa, Terry Butcher, so we can see them getting instant promotion and getting up there and challenging Celtic again. But as I said, a lot of the experiment, we are going to be looking at this shortlist that I've compiled. I've basically gone through and tried to find as many as the current internationals, current superstars and potential superstars of our generation, sort of, and it's going to be seeing where these guys go, what happens to them, do they really fulfil their potential? We've got an Oscar here, 14, and see if what happens. Is he going to get to a big club? Could he get to Chelsea in the future? It's all there. We'll find out. James Rodriguez, some of these guys as well, youth contracts, be able to pick her up real cheap at the start of the game. I've had a little play around myself. You can get a little carried away. I'll have a little scroll down the list and just look at some of these players that are on here, and really some of these players have got brilliant stats for the ages that they are. And you could obviously, some of these guys, you get away paying them in first team football, really, if they weren't 15, 14. Obviously, they're a little inconsistent. Alexis Sanchez, scrolling down the even Higuain, 15, probably on a pre-contract. Obviously, I've started the game unemployed, just so we can skip through, see what happens, not influence the game. Alonso. We've got a whole list of players here. Obviously, I'll be trying to keep an eye on as many. We'll be trying to keep an eye on as many as we can. Sort of seeing which ones go, biggest fees, sort of thing like that. See how they're performing when they get into the international scene. It's going to be a good few seasons before some of these guys are really breaking in. But the lesser teams, the lesser countries, it will be interested in the first few seasons when they start hitting 18, 19, seeing how if they get into the team, break in, where they end up as well, because obviously some of these guys aren't going to be going to some of the bigger teams. They're full of legends, so the lesser teams might have, give it a good few seasons. Some of the lesser teams will pick up some of these guys, young ages, hopefully really develop them well, get their full potential. It's all part of the experiment, see what happens to them. And obviously we'll be having a look at some of the clubs, see what happens to them. Man City, can they still challenge the likes of Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool and Arsenal with the host of legends that they've got? The Arsenal squad, you've got Bergkamp and Thierry Henry up front. If we want to have a flick through some of the teams, we will. We'll probably have a look at the Arsenal squad before we conclude today. And as you can see down this list, there's absolutely some brilliant talent available. Absolutely brilliant talent. Obviously, I've involved, I've involved some old guys, coming to the end of the career, maybe just finished, and I've involved some of the newer guys, see what happens to them. Hopefully, maybe they'll get into that in them teams. I've also put Jimmy Armfield and Tom Finney, both of them legends, onto the shortlist. Obviously at Blackpool, Preston surprisingly only had the one legends there, but League One, they've got one guy who could really build around him. Looking at his stats, he could really propel that team forward. Leadership, determination, composure, he can score. What a midfielder. And Blackpool, a lot of trouble Blackpool are in. got a guy, long contract, I think he's on 2019. Good leadership, good work rate. Could he be a force? Could he galvanise a team and keep them up and build around him and push on up and stuff? If they keep him, bigger clubs could come straight in. The money's there for some of them. We'll have a look and see what goes on. And as I said, I'll have a quick flip through the Arsenal squad because it's quite tasty. I'll tell you that. Look at that. Freddie Ljungberg, Robert Pires, Tony Adams in his prime. David Seaman, Henri is just unbelievable. 17 years old. You know, Obviously Wenger's in charge. I don't know if it's reset his age. He's at 58. You know, could he stay there a few more years, guide this team? I'm not sure. We'll have a quick look at the age of Alex Ferguson. It's put him in as because obviously and appears Liverpool really do look good. Gerrard back at 17. Robbie Fowler, Michael Owen obviously at 17. Can he actually fulfil a full career and get right to that prime age, or will he burn out? John Barnes, Ian Rush, these all the teams look brilliant. And obviously, it's put Bob Paisley in charge of Liverpool. Put him at 45 years old. He's a world class manager. He's put his abilities up. We'll have a quick little look, see what age they've put Fergie in at. 52. So he's going to have he can go on. Hopefully, nice little battle. Man United, Liverpool, probably. Arsenal getting up there. The Chelsea squad is looking quite good. Obviously, I think Tottenham have got a few. Villa, my favourite team. We've got Dwight York back, Paul McGrath. I'm not going to go through them all because we could be here all day. Obviously, we want to crack on. We want to skip through, get through the first three seasons, have a little look. We'll have a little look at mainly the teams. Have a look. Some of these players probably won't have moved. Some of them might have. They'll be, we'll have a look, see what's going on, and we'll get back with you in the second episode.